So today I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the balance fixes and some of the tweaks that I think are most important in Hardline at the moment. I'm really enjoying the beta, as I've said before, but the point of a beta is to obviously try and feed back as much information as we can about how the game works, how we feel it should work, how it does actually work, and what we'd like to see improved and changed. So I'm going to mention some things in the video today that I think are most important within Hardline, that there is some change done to each of these elements. That's not to say that I don't like the elements of how they are, I just think that a lot of them could be tweaked, or there could be some improvements in there to make the game better as a whole. First of all, the two game modes, Blood Money and Heist. I'm going to start with the Heist game mode. Now, if you're playing as the police faction, then obviously your job is to stop the robbers from getting into the two vaults and stealing the loot and getting to the extraction zone. Now, it's very easy to stop the robbers in the first instance, to stop them actually blowing open the doors. If you can overpower them at the start of the game, then you can control the whole area. But if the robbers do actually manage to get hold of the loot and then they get into a vehicle, it's very difficult for you to actually catch up with them unless you're camping at the extraction point. There's no real way for you to defend once an enemy's got hold of that bag of cash, got into a vehicle and driven away. They just get away too fast. Now, I'm not really too sure how this could actually be improved within Hardline, because there aren't too many options that can go there, because the point of the robbers is that you have to get the money to the extraction point, and that's just what they're doing. I think it's just too easy for them to do that. So there's no real specific way that I thought of actually improving it, but I think it's something that just needs to be looked into a little bit to maybe make it a little bit harder for the robbers to actually get to the extraction point after they've got hold of that loot. Within the Blood Money game mode, I think there's a little bit too much focus on that central point for where you can capture all the money from, where it's sort of the neutral ground where either of the teams can go in and steal the loot from that specific location. It is a little bit of a clusterfuck on this map. I mean, it could be completely different on any other map, but we haven't played those maps yet, so we don't really know how that's going to work. But on High Tension, there is a little bit too much focus on that central point. Well, maybe not too much focus, because that's probably where the focus should be, but maybe that the activity around it just needs to be spread out a little bit more. Having said that though, you do actually have the ability to go and steal money from the enemy's vault, and I might just point out here that you get more points per $100,000 that you steal from the enemy's vault than you do from the neutral vault in the middle of the map. In the middle of the map you only get 25 points per 100k, but getting it from the enemy vault you get 50 points for that, so there's actually an incentive to go further across the map and take a little bit more of a risk to go and steal the enemy's collected money. Next, I'd just like to talk about the weapons and gadgets available to each class. Now, overall, I feel that all the classes are fairly balanced. Obviously, the operator class is by far and away the most popular so far, and I have to say that I'm really enjoying the professional class as well. But I think there could be some balance changes made here to make them even more in line with each other and make it a fair fight across all of the maps. Within the professional class, which is basically like the recon class within Hardline, I don't think at the moment there's any real way for you to combat a vehicle should you come across one. I don't think you have access to explosives, or there's no real way to completely eliminate a vehicle instantly. Now, obviously you can use your weapon to sort of shoot people, but a sniper rifle is only going to do so much damage to a police car as it drives by. Maybe you might want to get a bit of C4 in there and take it out completely. At the moment, I don't think you have the ability to do that, and I think that's kind of a miss on Visceral's part. So for me, I'd maybe want some sort of explosive device to be within the professional class to make sure, should I come across a vehicle, I do actually have a chance of taking it out. The Survivalist perk for the operator class is overpowered as fuck. There is only one way I've thought so far of actually sorting this issue out, and that's to have an auto revive timer on the Survivalist perk. So rather than you choosing when you want to be revived, the game will revive you a certain amount of seconds after you initially died. So let's say it was 5 seconds, for example. You have no control over whether you revive yourself right in front of somebody or you're in the middle of the open and nobody's there anymore. So there's an element of chance in there that you might still be in the middle of a group of enemies that notice you instantly and you just get shot again, or you might actually have the chance to be revived in the middle of nowhere and you can get up and carry on because nobody would know that you got back up anyway and you're not going to do any harm there. Because at the moment, the fact that somebody can just choose when they want to be revived, you could be behind loads of enemies and just take people out. And I don't really think that's very fair to the person that actually shot you. It shouldn't be their responsibility to go back and make sure that you're actually dead, because you should be. He just killed you. So I think that's the only way that I can see the Survivalist perk actually working within the game. Failing that, it should just be removed completely, because it's just overpowered. And one final thing within the weapons here is the gas grenade. I don't think there's enough of a visual effect on the screen for you to actually be able to see where this gas grenade actually is and what sort of area it's having an impact on, because at the moment if somebody throws one, I think it takes about 5 or 6 damage away from you every second or every breath that you take, so to speak. So there's a progressive amount of damage it does over time until the grenade runs out. But you can run out of that zone and you'll stop taking damage, your vision will unblur, you can put down a med pack and then move on your way. But at the moment, there's no real way for you to tell just how far that gas grenade is actually having an effect for. If there was more of a greenish hue on the screen, which you can see within Hardline right now, if that was boosted a little bit more, it would make it much easier to know whether you can risk going into that area or not. You can combat it by wearing a gas mask, but that takes up one of your gadget slots and you may not be prepared to do that. I personally haven't been prepared to do that for any of the classes so far because all of the other gadgets just seem much more worth my time. So if they could improve the visual effect of the gas grenade so I could see just what area it was actually affecting, that would be great. And those are really my main gripes about the Hardline beta so far. I mean, there are a few other niggles in there that I can deal with at the moment. There's actually a bug where if you jump off a building and pull out your parachute and then hit the ground, if you start jumping straight away after that, it will still give you the same animation as if you're hitting the ground after you've just deployed your parachute. So you get this weird noise in the background and the screen jumps around all over the place, but that's a little bit of a weird one. I've submitted that to the forum, so hopefully that should get fixed. But as I said, those are my main gripes within the Hardline beta right now. If you've played the beta, what are some of the things that you've noticed or some of the things that you want changed? Make sure you leave those in the comments down below today. But that's about it for today's video, guys, so thank you for watching. Leave a rating and a comment, it's always appreciated. But until next time, my name is Westy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.